here on both TikTok and YouTube, going live with yoga. Today is going to be day 5 of a 30-day yoga and Pilates challenge that I'm doing, following Yoga with Cassandra. She has a YouTube channel. This one is going to be a 10-minute morning yoga and Pilates focused on the spine and posture. So it should be good. 10 minutes isn't too bad. I hope you guys will join me on the mat. Before I get started, I'm going to do my normal warm-up, which is a handstand, a back bend, and a headstand. You know, things I like to do for various reasons. I'm a big fan of yoga. I've been doing yoga most days for the past 5 years, and I absolutely love it. I just think the benefits of it are so wonderful that I can't help myself in telling other people about it and encouraging folks to give it a try. If you don't know me, I'm gonna call myself a former fat girl. I struggled with weight problems and kind of like body image issues for a big portion of my life. In fact, about 11 years ago, I think I tipped the scales at 280 pounds, and given that I'm only 5'5", that's a lot of weight to be carrying. I was morbidly obese, very uncomfortable, and I woke up one day and I'm like, what have I done to myself? And I made a commitment to lose the weight. So fast forward about a year, and I got down to about 140 pounds, so I lost 140 pounds. I haven't kept 140 pounds off, I've kept maybe like 120 pounds off, and I just try to live my life intentionally now, kind of embracing my inner athlete, recognizing the struggles that I still have with like stress eating, and it's just so easy for me to gain weight. So I have to live my life intentionally, focusing on doing something good for my mind, for my spirit, for my body. And I find when I do these things intentionally, I am at peace with myself, I'm happy with myself, and I can show up as the best version of myself each and every day. And you know, making sure that I'm doing things like doing yoga or just being active in general really helps as well. You know, so often we get caught up in the stresses of life, and I also had that. In my younger years, I have a very high pain tolerance, and I have a very high tolerance for stress as well. But there's a few times in my life where I let my stress levels get way too high. I was too consumed with solving problems and, you know, just doing everything I can to please everybody else, you know, whether it be at work or in my personal life, in different relationships, and just got to the point where I got overwhelmed with it all. I actually struggled with some mental health issues, had to be hospitalized and all of that. And so I've been able to overcome all of those things. I used to be kind of on a cycle. I was diagnosed with a bipolar disorder back in 1997, and I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't even know what happened to me. It was kind of a painful, traumatic time in my life, and I didn't know what to think about it. Was very, unsure, and didn't know if I should be ashamed of it and all that stuff. And all of that, those negative thoughts actually weigh heavily on you, and you know, put you in a position to experience additional problems. But fast forward, I got stuff under control. I didn't have to stay on medication or anything like that, but and I thought I had the answer. But in 2005, you know, I had another episode, and you know, fast forward to 2013, I had another one, and so I was on this cycle of like 8 years. And at some point in time, I figured out what it is that I need to do so that I don't have to go through this cycle again. So with this 8 years, I should have had another episode in, if I was going to continue on that cycle in 2021, but here it is 2025, and the last occurrence that I had was back in 2013, so I really feel like I have figured this thing out for myself. I realize that I am just allergic to negativity, negative thoughts, just negative people, negative experiences, where all those things, negative emotions, all of that. And so I'm just very intentional about, reading my Bible every day, getting a good word and a good direction, and doing things that allow me to kind of clear my head. Yoga does that, it helps me practice mindfulness, all of that. When you exercise, you're putting good stress on your body. When you're not exercising and you're just going through day-to-day life and you get consumed with all the things that you have to do, or you get consumed with worrying about stuff and trying to solve problems, and you're just adding more bad stress to yourself without balancing the good, that's just a lethal combination for me. So I'm very intentional about doing a lot of exercise. So for me, exercise is my therapy. I make sure that I do at least 2 30-minute workouts a day. I make sure that I walk every day, like at least a mile. If I walk for 30 minutes, that counts as one. If I do yoga for 30 minutes, that counts as one workout. But like today, I'll do a 10-minute yoga practice, so that counts for my yoga for the day, but it doesn't count as a 20-minute exercise. And so I do things intentionally, making sure that I am exerting good energy, that I'm doing something good for my mind, my spirit, and my body each and every day. And that just keeps me at peace, it keeps me in balance, lets me be the best version of myself, and allows me to live my best life. I stay healthy, I stay strong. With yoga, I stay nimble and flexible and all of that. And so it's been very, very good for me. I do go live with a lot of things. I share a lot of things on TikTok and on YouTube a bit. Things that have helped me. I am a firm believer that just as human beings, we're all more alike than we are different. We all have the same type of struggles or insecurities or doubts. And they may manifest in different ways, but at the core, emotionally, we're the same. We kind of navigate through life. And so I just believe there's other people who have probably struggled with some of the same things that I've struggled with. And if I share my journey, and if I share what's worked for me, then I could potentially be helping somebody else. It's like, why should you have to go through all the pain that I went through if I can just share that with you, and then hopefully I can give you something to relate to where you feel like, hey, I'm not alone in this. Because sometimes when we feel like we're alone, we just hide what it is that we're going through, and things that are done in the dark, they add to your problem. But when you shine a light on them, you expose, you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you put yourself in a position to be able to connect with other people, to be able to glean from their experiences, and you're able to get motivation from other people, and then hopefully you can overcome your obstacles as well. So that has worked for me. In fact, when I lost that initial 140 pounds, it's funny because I had thought, I guess my motivation for sharing originally wasn't necessarily to help other people, it was very selfish. Because I ran into somebody, once I was like very heavy, I ran into somebody from college and I recognized them, but they saw me but didn't recognize me, didn't say hello. And I just realized, I was like, probably the last time they saw me, I was much smaller, and I gained a ton of weight and they didn't even recognize me. And so I thought, I didn't like how I felt when they didn't recognize me. And so I knew that I was going to drop this weight. So I'm like, let me just be real public about it, so that if somebody runs into me after I lose the weight, they know who I am because they've seen this journey, and I won't have to get my feelings hurt because they don't say hello to me. So that was my original motivation for sharing and letting people know what it is that I would do, so that they would, you know, still be my friends, still recognize me. But what ended up happening is, unintentionally, I motivated a lot of people. And when it was all said and done, I ran into people who lost a ton of weight, and I was like, oh wow, you look really great. And one person was like, well, you know, I really appreciated you sharing your journey. You know, you inspired me, you motivated me, and you know, there's probably a lot of people that you did the same thing with, who didn't say anything, but they were watching, and they were encouraged and motivated by what it is that you were doing, thinking like, oh wow, look at her, she's doing this thing. If she can do it, I can do it too. Let me give it a try. And so I just learned that there's just so much power in community. So that's the reason that I share. So I'm not going live so I can like try to build up a following necessarily, or you know, trying to make money and, you know, beg for gifts and stuff like that. That's not my motivation. I just think that sharing is caring. We all need encouragement, and so as I go through my journey, I appreciate the people who say, oh, good job, keep going. It really does help, and at the same time, you know, if I can be an encouragement to other people, then I get joy and satisfaction from that as well. So that's me, that's my story. Let's go ahead and get into this yoga practice. I do hope you will join me. Again, I love yoga, so I like doing it each and every day, but you know, what I enjoy may not necessarily be what you enjoy, but I hope, even if you don't do it, even if you don't join me, even if yoga is not your thing, I hope that I have at least motivated you to think about doing something good for your body each and every day. Trust me when I tell you, your body will thank you later, as will your mind. All right, let's get this started. I'm gonna do my warm up. Let me give myself credit for my yoga. I'll do the warm up and then we'll jump into this practice, okay? Thank you.
Our short practice this morning is focusing on the spine. So this is a great class to focus on all of the muscles around your back or along the spine. This is also really wonderful for posture. So if you know you're going to be sitting a lot today, or if you just tend to have poor posture throughout the day, this is a great little sequence to even integrate beyond this challenge on a regular basis. So we're going to go through pretty much all of the essential spinal movements, flexion, extension, side bending, twists, all of that good stuff. Let's begin sitting. Sorry girl, I don't want to squish you. Sit anyway. I'm just going to be cross-legged. I just want to be able to lift and lengthen out of the lower back. Roll your shoulders down and away from your ears. And really notice right away what you tend to do as a default. Sometimes I know for me, I puff the chest out. So try to keep the rib cage engaged, a little bit of abdominal involvement here, and keeping the shoulders directly over the hips. So find this alignment, and then left fingertips will go out to the side, right arm will reach up overhead and find a side bend. First thing that tends to happen in a side bend is we want to lift that hip up. Try to keep it pressing down so that you're really just arching through the side of your waist. And instead of hiking that shoulder up to the ear, press and roll it down and let your head hang heavy. And even here, notice, are you puffing the chest forward, or are you rounding and contracting? Try to stay as if you're like in between two walls, nothing changes. Just some lateral flexion. And we'll come all the way up. Keep that arm up. We're going to go into a twist. So my right hand is going to grab a hold of my left knee. Left fingertips go behind me as I rotate. So both of my hip bones are still facing forward. I'm really just twisting, trying to get my shoulders, my collarbones to face the shorter edge of my mat. No slouching, sitting up nice and tall. And release over to the second side. Right fingertips go out to the side, left arm reaches up and over, side body stretch. Think of pushing down into that left sit bone. Drawing the lower belly in and up a little, relaxing your head and neck. No tension through your shoulders. And coming all the way up, let's find our twist. Left hand to your right knee, right fingertips behind you, open through your chest. And as I'm twisting, I'm scooping the abs in and up. This will help me twist a little bit deeper while making sure that my pelvis is still facing forward. No change there. And releasing to face forward. Just bring both hands on your knees and trace some circles with your shoulders so that hips stay rounded on the mat. And you can reverse this direction, the other way. One more here. And coming back to the center, you can just turn. So I'm sitting on my little foam pad here just because it's going to be hard on my tailbone. With the feet flat to the floor, about hip width distance apart, just hold on to the back of your thighs. So these are like your half roll-ups or half roll-downs, really. Find a C curve with your spine as you straighten the arms and really find that rounding and draw the abdominals in and up. And then inhale, find a proud chest, lift up, flat back. And exhale, tuck in and round. So really stretching along the spine. Inhale, lift up, twice more like this. Exhale, tuck and curl. Keep pushing into your feet, lifting up. And exhale, almost like a cat pose that we would do in cat and cow. Coming all the way up. Let's add on a little bit more core strength here. Reach your arms out and you can hold on. I like to clasp the hands Releasing the index fingers and just crossing one thumb over the other. We're going to inhale, lift up, and almost think like a cow pose. So I'm arching my spine. And then as I exhale, I'm going to lower and find that contraction, but twist, reach the arms over towards the right. So inhale, lift up tall, and exhale, round and come down halfway, twisting to the left. Twice more on each side. Think of scooping the abs in and up. Keep pushing into the feet so they're not lifting off of the floor. One more on each side. Last one. Core strength is really essential to posture. And let's release. I'm going to move my foam pad off to the side. Won't be needing it. And we're going to lower down onto our belly. Sorry, actually into our plank pose. This is leg pull front. So palms under your shoulders, straighten through the legs. You can have your knees down on the mat if you like. So in plank, it's common for our head to drop. I want you to lift the back of your head up. We're going to point the right toes, lift it up, and then tuck the toes under. Point the left, lift the left leg up, and curl. A few more times on each side. So right leg lifts. Point the left toes, left leg lifts. One more time, each side, point and lift. Strong for your shoulders, left, lift. And now let's lower all the way down to our belly. Little baby cobras from here. Push into the tops of your feet. Keep your hands by the sides of your chest. Roll your shoulders away from the ears. And as you push into the feet, think of lifting and engaging through the lower belly. Palms, chest, and head lift off the mat. And exhale to lower down twice more. Inhale. And exhale. Last one, squeeze it up, lift a little higher. And exhale to release. For swimming, reach your arms out in front of you, palms facing down. This time we're going to lift everything up. So arms and legs come off the mat. And just flutter kick in opposition here. Try to straighten the knees, straighten the elbows, keep the abs engaged. Back of the neck is long. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Press it back to child's pose. Let's do like a seated version of child's pose, so keep your knees fairly close and towards one another. And reach your arms back towards your feet. Releasing your forehead down to the floor. And from this child's pose, see if you can grab a hold of your heels, and we're going to come into rabbit. So all you need to do is lift your hips off of the floor and kind of rock forward. I'm not quite on the top of my head. I'm just a little bit further up, like between crown of my head and forehead. Stretching the spine. And release, setting the feet down. Let's find downward facing dog. Walk your hands out in front of you, shoulder width distance apart. Feet are hip width distance apart. Lift your hips up and back. So any movements that feel good here. Because this is a spine-focused class, I want you to maybe bend your knees more than you normally would in downward dog, and instead focus on straightening your arms and reaching, pushing through your chest. Lengthening out of your lower back, drawing your lower belly in and up. And we'll find our ragdoll hold. You can walk your hands to the back of the mat. I'm going to widen my feet a little bit more towards the edges of the mat, bending the knees generously and just letting yourself drape over the legs, maybe holding onto the elbows as you sway a little side to side. Maybe shaking out the head. No tension even in your facial muscles. And releasing the fingertips down to the floor. Let's just bend the knees so we can lower our way down and come to take a seat. I'm just going to be kneeling here, and I'll draw a little card for us so we can set our intention for the day together. So our affirmation for day 5. I send love to each part of my body without exceptions. So let's close our eyes and repeat that to ourselves. I send love to each part of my body without exceptions. Staying with your breath. And especially after this practice, lengthen your spine. I send love to each part of my body without exceptions. Let's join our hands together at the front of the heart. And together, we'll chant Om. Inhale to chant, breathe in. Om. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing day 5. I feel like day 5 is a little bit of a crucial turning point. So maybe, the first few days you've been using motivation to get you on the mat. Motivation is great, but the thing with motivation is it's a little bit fickle. It's not super reliable. So when motivation disappears, we need to rely on discipline, right? So discipline over motivation. It's great if motivation is what got you here, the enthusiasm of the challenge. That's beautiful, that's great. But now that we're really in the thick of it, discipline is really what gets you to commit to something for the entirety.
I am committed. Thank you so much for joining me for this yoga/Pilates session. If you've been here the whole time, thank you for listening to my story, my share. I appreciate you. I'll be back tomorrow. I hope you will as well. Until then, have a fabulous day. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.